Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quantum GK. I'm your host, Donna Reyes. We're going to wait for a couple more minutes to have somebody wait for people to join us on tonight's program on Quantum GK Next Gen. And while I also share our live program on my personal Facebook account. All right. Hello, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Donna Reyes, and I'm your host on tonight's episode of Quantum GK Next Gen. We have an exciting guest tonight. He's going to take us down a memory lane. He and I have been working together as volunteers with Gawad USA for many years, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we bring him on. Meanwhile, as always, because this is a monthly program, this is also our monthly update on what's going on with Gawad Kalinga. All right. So first, actually, I only have a couple of announcements. So let me just share my screen here. All right. I hope you can see my screen. So the Bayani Challenge 2022, Building Resilient Communities, is still going on. It started on April 9th and it's going on through June 12th. To register, visit gkoneworld.com/BC 2022. So very, very exciting. If you're visiting the Philippines, for you Philams out there, you're visiting the Philippines around May or June, right when kids are out of school and into the summer, you might want to make that trip more memorable and more meaningful by participating in the Bayani Challenge 2022. All right. The other thing that I wanted to remind everyone is that, of course, you all know that the Philippine elections is happening on May 9th, right? And here in the US, many of us have already received our ballots, right? To vote for the next president, vice president, and 12 senators in the Philippines. So I urge everyone to go and exercise your right to vote. Sa lahat ng mga Filipino, mga Pinoy na mga kababayan natin, sana po kayo po ay nakarehistro para bumoto. And for those of us who are here, who are based here in the US, I hope you're all registered to vote and make it a priority. If you're mailing your ballots, make sure that you bring it to the post office and not just drop in the mailbox. I know they said you can drop it in the mailbox. Of course, you can do that. But just for me, what I did is I went and brought my envelope with a ballot in it, both mine and my husband's, to the post office and made sure that there are enough stamps on it, right? I also asked if I can do registered mail to make sure that, that the ballots have been received, that the envelopes have been received. However, the lady at the post office said that if I did that, then that will require somebody from the post office to go, from the consulate to go to the post office and, sign that, the card. And so they probably will not do that. I'm not sure, because otherwise everyone who would do that, for everyone who would do that, then somebody would have to go to the post office. And I don't know that they will have, the people in the consulate will have that time to do all that, right? But, if you want to be absolutely sure that your mail gets to the to the consulate, another thing that you might want to consider is sending your ballots via priority mail. So that will not require somebody from the consulate to sign for it, but then you can track that your mail with your precious ballots actually reached the consulate or the embassy, wherever you're mailing them. All right. So And then just more, I guess, on a more personal note, let us vote for the candidate that reflects our values, what is important to us, and our principles, right? Because the future depends on the decision that we make on those ballots. All right, now I'm going to stop talking now because we have a very exciting, like I said, very exciting guest for tonight. I am very excited to have him on Quantum GK. And like I said, just to take us down the memory lane and maybe talk about, what's in store for him and GK USA in the future. Please welcome Mr. Ben Dichoso Jr. Right, there's a junior. All right. Oh, unmute yourself, Ben. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I pay homage to Ben Sr., my dad. So he's like
Right.
the pioneer that, like all our families that came here first. And so I always put the junior on most occasions, especially when I want to recognize my dad, because I know most of you that were the first immigrants here. It was not easy. And I had the pleasure of my dad and my uncles. They were three brothers, three sailors. We call them the Dichoso sailors, that kind of were our pioneers to come to America. So yeah, that's why y'all see Ben Jr. every once in a while.
Right. Well, I noticed that when I looked into your Facebook profile, you wrote Ben Dichoso Jr. I'm like, well, I have to be, yeah, I want to honor your father as well. And so I was very specific to mention that you're a junior. All right. Well, first of all, Ben, I'd like to start with just asking, kumusta ka? It's been a while. You and I go way back.
We go way back. I always remember Ravi and Donna as the Chicago contingency. Like we all had our little spaces. I remember when Tita Tony, he said to me one time, well, how's it going? I said, well, it's not as good as I expect. He says to me, Tita Tony, Elijah says, as long as there's one of you in a city, that's all we need to get the movement moving. And that always reminded me, even if there are days when you're like, you don't have as many volunteers, last year or whatever, you just have to be that light. So yeah, we've been, it's been, God, I counted at years. It's been a while. I think most of us, GK started coming into US around 2003-ish, that fall or 2000. Yeah, and it started coming in. I believe it came from I don't know exactly how they did it. It seemed like it came from the East Coast, and by the time the springtime, it was here on the west, or it came to the West Coast to the East Coast, and so that's when I remember this. I saw you had a video with Dylan, and so I remember at a church, my everyone's got aunties, right? That they're really not your aunties, but they are, right? So she invites me. I'm sitting in the back because I really don't want to be there, right? But I go because you got to, right? And I hear this voice, this English voice at the very front, and he's showing me these pictures of the Philippines, which I have seen before, of the poverty, and I'm really not really paying the pictures. I'm looking at this English guy speaking, and he's got blue jeans on and a sweatshirt, and I'm like, and he says to me, he says, and Dylan will probably correct me, this is how I remember. He says, the Filipino, it's like a stone that has all the stuff on it and has been kind of moved around. But if you pick up the stone and you clean it off, it's a bar of gold. It's a stone of gold. And man, that changed my perspective. I felt bad to be truthful. I'm a Filipino American. I can only half understand what you guys are saying. I try to speak, but everyone laughs. So I have translators. But I can understand mostly. But when I heard him speak, it just said to me, why am I not doing something? And I chased the person down that was running it for us, and I said, I gotta be a part of it. I gotta be a part of it. And that was it. That was so many years ago. And I have, I'll be truthful, I've had some ups and downs like most of us, trying to stay with the momentum it is. There's a lot of momentum to stay up with GK, and I still have I have 4 kids. I have 13, 15, 17, and my eldest is 18. I have 3 girls and a boy, and my son is going to college this fall. And I remember for the first few years, I was just going around giving presentations like we all did. And I never went back home though, right? And Tito Tony the last time I was home was really long time ago. And Tito Tony, who's this guy? Like, why is he so enthused about it? And I don't know what happened. The videos that they shared, the people I talked to, it just felt like I was missing something all my life. Okay. I mean, I was around early 30s and I was like, I missed something. Like, deep truth, when they would ask you, like, where you're from, where are you from? I would say, I'm from Maryland. I'm from Maryland. I know what they're asking. They're asking what's my nationality. I would just say, I'm from Maryland, right? And I have to tell you, after the experience of GK over these years, I proudly say I am from the Philippines, okay? And they said, well, your voice don't sound like you're Philippine, but I look Filipino. And they said, you certainly do. And I tell you, it has changed my life over the years. And so, I had been in and out. And I used to always, I remember when we moved and Tony Elias took over, we all kind of huddled. And that was some crazy time in 2009, but we made it work. I mean, I look back, I mean, that should not have happened. Like, we should have failed back then. Well, we did not. It didn't take much of us. It just took, like Tito Tony said, I just need one of you in each city. Luckily, there was more than one of us in each city. But that time back then, man, it really put me through the ringer, right? But I try to keep steady. And so, right now, I had retired from the government recently.
Yeah, congratulations.
Which was great. And the question is, what do you do now, right? What do you do now? And I had some starts and stops over the last few years because I had been rising in my career, and it just took a lot of time. And I would start out, we'd have an event, I'd start up, I'd be real strong, and then months later I'd call Tita June or Tita Marcel, say, hey, Auntie Marcel, said, hey, I know I'm slowing down, but I really still hard of it. I gotta focus on this, and so now that I am retired, I'm just so happy having the opportunity to really look at Mary Shannon. Says, okay, it's funny because she says, what do you want to do? I tell her what I want to do, and you know how she is. She's like, well, this is what I want you to do. I said, all right, I'll do what you want me to do. I said, but I like to do some of this, and so she said, all right, you can do some of that, but I want you to keep doing what you've been doing for me and holding the DC down. And so I said, got it. And so, yeah, I'm really excited now. I have really, I've devoted a certain time, like this time is for GK. And the thing about being retired like this is you own your time. Like you own your time. Like, so my wife says, well, you don't, because you got to take care of your kids first. So like all my, like she gives me blocks of times that I can actually work, right? And I started a little consulting work because I still want to help my own industry, but GK is well in front in what I want to do. And now it's just figuring out what do I do, right? And there's some ideas that they would want me to do. Again, managing the area director. We in our area, we have multiple things. We love the soccer program, to be truthful, because my kids are already now doing that work.
Yeah,
it's easy because it was easy to translate to them. Like we've done it for the last couple of years. Who was that? From the West Coast, Did you hear? Yeah. I bumped into him about in 2019, and man, if you bump into him, you're going to end up doing the CPUG program. If you stand next to him,
he's super passionate about it.
He is super passionate. The story he tells about it, I don't know how you can't help. I happened to be standing in line with him, and I just couldn't help. I came back and said, we got to do it. And we've done maybe 2 or 3 small shipments, but the key is that we're doing it, and I'm transferring it now to my children. My daughter, my eldest daughter, is taking the lead, and she's the president of the Asian Pacific American Asian Pacific Islander group at school, and she's making it a project. And so this is exciting. to now starting work with the next generation. And
Awesome.
I've not met the new head of the next generation. I've seen all the writings that I've heard about her, and but I'm just kind of waiting. I'm like waiting in system. What do you need? And
Yeah.
and that's kind of our role. You know, Marcel says, "Hey, we were the pioneers. We did it, but let them tell us what they need." And but boy, you know, we got a lot of stuff here. Oh man, we tried so many different things. We know it works, but we know it's a different era, and there's different technology, different things. But I'm excited to see this next generation having the fire that we had so many years ago, right?
Yeah. Hey, so back in the day, so you and I literally started the same year. If you're saying you've been a volunteer for 19 years, so am I, 19 years. So we both started back in 2003. We were both in our early 30s. I remember Tito Tony would say, you know, when he would address like the titos and titas, he would say, "You are in your pre-departure age. What kind of legacy would you leave?" And so now I was thinking, hey, now we are in the pre-departure age.
I know, because we were the young ones, right? Like
Yeah, we were
everyone, when we
getting.
look around, we were the young ones. We're like, and we're like, how did they have the time? Because they were retired and we were juggling life, but we still
Right.
kind of, but yeah, we were, but now we're not. We're kind of like the
But
ones trying to.
also, I mean, at that time, well, Robbie and I never really had any kids. I mean, you had small kids at the time.
Oh my, we had some crazy stuff, and I'll go ahead and give some confession here. Like, my daughter, oh man, this is terrible, but I'll just tell you how passionate we were back then. Uh, my daughter was supposed to be born on a Friday, or it was like a Friday or something like that. But I had a talk in New York for GK on a Thursday. She was born like on a Wednesday. Craziness.
Oh,
We were that crazy at GK that they wanted to make sure that I could make it, and my daughter was induced a day earlier just so I could drive up.
and she's your
We
first
were
child?
that first daughter, my
First
first daughter,
daughter.
and
All right.
she's the one that's leading the GK
Oh,
soccer program now, but she's the president of that.
oh,
It was that
awesome.
girl. Like,
Yeah.
here's another crazy thing. So she turns 1, okay, but it happens to be the week we're in Las Vegas that year. You remember we were in
Yeah.
Vegas? So where
Yeah.
did she spend her first birthday? Las Vegas. I mean, we were that crazy back then. Like, and looking at it now, I'm like, well, we would have still done it. But most
Mhm.
people would say, man, you guys are crazy. But no, we were passionate, and we still are. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I remember when I first went to the Philippines and I saw what I saw. I came back, and Jenny was Singles for Christ in the Philippines. So
Mhm.
she's super grew. When she came here and I started getting involved. Her eyes started rolling back in her head. She's like, "Oh my gosh, my husband getting this," but she was supportive, of course. And so we come back after that trip, and that was when Rose led that first trip where we all went there, and it was like
Yeah.
that first build trip. It was one of
Yeah.
the first build trips, like in a January time trip. And
Mhm.
I get back to her and I look at him, okay, and this is many years ago, right? This is probably 15 years or whatever ago. And I said, I think I found what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. And she goes, no, you're not going to be a full-time worker. She says, you will volunteer. I'll give you time, but we got kids to raise. And I think that's kind of the story I want to leave folks. Like, we know there were the ones that they gave up their careers as lawyers. And I still amazed by it. But there were some of us that had to keep moving with our regular life,
Yeah.
but still gave the time where we can to do it. And that's what I kind of call out to the volunteers, right? You can do it. Like, if I don't mean to boast, but if you look at my career, that was, why my career went so well, because GK gave me opportunities that I didn't have, that they wouldn't give me. And I was able to learn how to deal with people, learn how to lead, which I did. And they weren't given to me as a project engineer, but I was doing it in GK. Like,
Mhm.
I would do things, I would talk in front of people, which I hate talking about in front of people before, but I do it all the time now. But I needed that at work. Like, there were so many things that we had to do GK just to do it, because I learned things that I didn't even know how to do, just so we would, because no one would know how to do it. So we had to learn
Yeah.
ourselves. And
Yeah.
it actually helped me in my career. I can attribute all the things. If you look at my resume, I can attribute all of that because I got the opportunity first from GK.
Well, I'm so happy that you share that because I've been sharing my story as well, about how like, obviously, like in the beginning, our intention is to help out in whatever way we can, right? Volunteer our time, volunteer whatever gifts, whatever talents, whatever skills we might have, right? But I can tell you, GK has given me way more than what I had given it, right? What I had given the work. Like you, I learned, I pretty much, obviously I went to school for communications, right? That's my major. But I really learned a lot about like communication, which is different people, right? Different organizations. Like it's like real skills, right? That we develop just, by doing GK work because well, yeah, no one's gonna do it. Somebody's gotta do it. And you just kind of, and you know that no matter what, and this is something that I'm really proud of being a part of, being a part of this community. It's just how loving and forgiving, right? It is as a community, right?
It,
It really lives up to what it means to Gawad Kalinga, right? To Gawad Kalinga is to give care, right? And that really is the culture of our community here. So no matter, like, if you say I can do, I know a little bit of this, but I'm not really good at it, kind of thing. They'll be like, like whatever you can do, and then like what it's the it's whatever you can do, and it's multiplied, 1,000 times, 100,000 times, because that's just the effect of GK, of Gawad Kalina.
yeah, it has been so part of my life. Like, so again, I don't mean to boast. It's part of, because who I am is why I started in GK. Like, so I was in the military previously. I had to get out for certain reasons, and I was looking for something because I'm a combat engineer. I build stuff, right? And so I went to Baltimore, and there was one of the handmaids sitting there, and she had the magazine with the kid with the heart there. I saw that, and I said, "This is a message. Like, what is that?" And that was one of the first times I saw it. And then when they came, like, it really is. I can't explain it. We've been there 2 decades, and I'm gonna continue to do it. And I just, especially folks like me, like, we it helped me become a Filipino. I'm telling you, like, people will ask me questions. I know a lot of stuff. They're like, "How do you know that?" Like, "Oh, because I studied it." I spent a lot of time with Teacher Boy, Montelebno, and he would tell me, "Look, that's," and this, and he would tell me stories and histories, and like they would just, and things I did not know, and it. I'm just saying, if you're a Philan and you're even, Filipinos that have migrated here, you're going to lose connection if you don't connect yourself. You're going to lose it. You have to connect. Okay. And it not just, okay, visiting for every few, years and da, da, da. That's not what I mean. Like, so I'm not going to name the representative. Okay. But there was a representative. Okay. We're from the North. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. And so somehow my dad gets connected with this guy, and every time he comes, my dad drives him around. Okay, this was for many years before he died. I think he's dead now. But so but one day, I was a teenager. I was just being a smart ass, and I said, so Tito, so when are we gonna fix the Philippines? And I know there was issues with how he ran things, right? Man, he looked me square in the eye. This is before GK. He says, "When you come back and do something." And he met me as a generation, like us Philams, come back and do something. This is before I met Teacher Tony, before I met GK. I still remember to this day. And I looked at him square. I was quiet. Because we have to care. There's a story about the Koreans. And you look at the Koreans, you wonder, like, why, what did they do? What happened? There was a group of Koreans that went back to Korea after the war and built Korea back, paying less paid jobs or whatever. And then they just kept doing it. Even now, the Koreans, after they do it, they go back. They build hospitals and stuff. It's part of their culture, right? And I just feel like GK has given me that opportunity. And it's the truth. Like, there's a saying, and again, I always say it because I never could say it in Tagalog. And when I say it, you'll be able to repeat it because you'll know what I mean. There's that saying that says, if you don't know how to look where you've come from, you cannot reach where your final destination or your future.
Mhm.
And that's so true about at least those that get involved. We go back and we stare at where we came from, and it completes us.
So that's a good segue to what Marisol had posted as a comment on our Facebook Live. She said, yes, GK is something you do the rest of your life, despite the stops and start overs again. So with that, I'd like to ask you, what keeps you coming back? I understand that obviously raising your kids is that you post some challenges, right? Because they're young and, those are real, their family needs you too, right? Needed you too when they were little and everything. And you have other, you had your career to take care of, maybe some other things, but what keeps you coming back to GK?
You want the truth? You guys.
Oh.
I'm an only child. I have no siblings. And you're like the brothers and sisters I've never had. And so sometimes I get pretty bad, feeling sad, but Marcel called me and I'm like, do it, but I will always come back no matter what happens. And now that I have the time, there's no doubt. I'm telling you, when you grow up here and you don't want to tell people where you're from, okay? It's like you've been adopted, right? Okay, by this culture. And then you find who your real family is, and they open their arms to you. That's why, no matter how busy I am, if I can do it, I will. And it's the people. I mean, good God, you guys have been with me. We've been together so long. I mean, and we don't stop enjoying each company. We don't stop. It's just the people. And I used to tell a story when I used to present. I have this picture, right? The first time I was big in photography, I was taking pictures, and there's this picture at the end of my slideshow. I would say, hey, there's a picture of these children from the village, and I think that village was in Bicol, and I said, see, these children are just like any children. They're like your children, your grandchildren. And I said, hey, do you see the little one in the middle? Isn't he cute? And they go, oh yeah, he's cute. I said, well, that's my son. That guy is 18 years old now. And so what I'm saying, it was the people. It was always the people. If you ever hear Tony Elias' story, it's the people that keeps bringing us back. How do you turn your back on your family? You cannot. No matter how busy you are or things, you just know that you'll come back when you can. And when you can, you always try to do it. To me, it's the people. Always been the people. It took me many years in life to figure that out, because I'm an engineer. We're about projects, building stuff. That doesn't matter. It's the people that are in the building. It's the people that walk around. It's the people you interact. We don't remember what project we did together. We don't even remember. Sometimes we don't even remember where it was. We just remember each other. It goes that always. And that's what keeps me coming back is you guys.
Oh my God, man, that is so powerful. That just really hit me. Well, because, I wasn't expecting that answer at all, and what I would usually get, is, well, because the work of God Kalinga is great, it does great things for the poor, which it does, obviously, right? But I'm glad that was your answer, because sometimes I think we overlook, the fact that we are really a family, right? That we really connected from 19 years ago, right? And that connection never really stopped. We continue to connect to each other no matter, I'm talking to you now. The last time I saw you was in 2019, I think, back in maybe in Tampa Bay. We're there.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Okay.
Right. We didn't really get a chance to talk much at that time. It was just a lot of people, etc. But before that, was years before that we saw each other last. But no matter how much time and space, between us, I feel like I just saw you yesterday. You've never really, so It's the connection that
it's
you're
all
talking
about,
about.
it's connect. It's all about good friendships. So recently, I had not been back to college. I was back in college maybe 20 years ago when Jen and I wanted to show her it, but I didn't get to see all my good friends then. So I'm in a fraternity that, local fraternity there, 130 years we've been together, right? And I was at the 100th anniversary. So there was the 130th this past, and I go down there, right? And I see like a handful of the people I haven't seen in 30 years. You know what? We just picked up. We're like texting each other now. We're like, because those times that you spend with each other during those crucial times of growth, like us, we're out of college, we're starting jobs, it means something. Like,
Mhm.
and we had alone time where we were fighting these battles, and we would talk to each other, and you were like, we understand each other. And now it's like, again, I was in the military, and I've never went to war, but I've been on a lot of training exercises, right? And I've been a few different stations, and I've had a lot of signs. And I still have airmen that are still my friend from those days, because we were side by side building stuff, helping people. And they were there. It's the
Mhm.
same. And that's what I would tell volunteers now that are listening. This, you want to be a part of something? We're not done, okay?
Mhm.
And it continues, and we can explain it to you. It's experiential. You have to
Right.
experience. It's like
Right.
I brought my wife back to my fraternity like 20 years ago, but we didn't have, it was just a football game. I introduced a few people. So this was 130th anniversary. We sure did what of course we're all old and we turn in real early. But she was like, holy cow, I said, that's who we are. We're about leadership. We're about fellowship, about service. And she said, wow, when you said fraternity, I thought something else, because that means different thing in the Philippines. I said, no, we were a leadership and fellowship fraternity, but we started back, but she had experience. It's just like GK. It's hard for us to explain. You can see the video, but you got to experience it. Like, you got to go to a festival and set up, and then you have two people that show up. You hand out, and then you collect it, and then after that, you get like one person who wants to volunteer. But then you find out that one person is like 10 people. Like, like, you have to experience all that, and then you see in their eyes like they connected, even if it was just one person that I brought to GK, just
Mhm.
one. And they were connected back to a land they never knew. I mean, you got a lot of Filipinos that are like 1/4, 1/2. I have a friend whose daughter is 1/4 Filipino, right? And she's kind of finding her way. She's already a sophomore at this school. And I said to her, join the Filipino club. He said, yeah, I heard about it. I said, well, I was, oh, you were? Yeah, I said, I've been in for a year, but they are still my friends till this day. I said, join. So she's in there and she's like, wow. Because she's German, and my friend is like a half Filipino. He doesn't talk about it much, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And then she starts me and she says, wow. I said, yeah. And I started calling, I started calling, they started calling me Tito and Tito. Like, she didn't know the vernacular. And like,
Right.
I could just see in her eyes, she felt at home. And again, I wouldn't have that if it wasn't GK.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
That's
And my
awesome.
kids wouldn't have it. Like, there was so much, but you gotta experience it, because we all come from different sides. There are things that we already have and we're just reconnecting, or things we didn't have. But I think that GK fits all the needs, because our goal, right, is the poor. It always has been. Okay.
Yeah.
And but we get the pleasure that when we're doing the work for poor, we've got friendships that last forever, and we do it even more. Like, we do go there for the mission, but we also want to go see such and we're going to Tampa this year. Oh, we're going to,
Right.
I hadn't been to Chicago in a while. Oh yeah, let's go there. Like, I love that when we were like moving around, going to see each other. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just because we were seeing where each other lives, and we
Mhm.
we felt it. And yeah, it has been a ride, and I'm looking forward. Um, and some people know my situation, and it's funny when you come close to death that you realize what's really important.
Mhm.
Of course, my family, my faith, and GK is still there. Okay. And even when I did So they asked me in the who's who, what different things. So if you go look at my press release that was released, I think was it last week or this week, GK is in there. I put it in there.
What's the
And
press release about?
So I was nominated for my industry as who's who for
Oh,
my
wow.
industry. You know, they go through all your resumes, and if
Yeah.
you, it's Marquis Who's Who in America for 2023.
Wow, congratulations.
So,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's I also got word, and you know, I wait to see it, but they also said I was in the top 9 that they're going to show in the Wall Street Journal, right? And but I made it a point
Wow.
that in my press release I put GK, and I also have our website in there. I mean, I was like, this is part of me. It's going to come with me, you know. And of course, I have my
Yeah.
kids' names and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like because it's a, you know, what they do is you have you don't have to do the press release. You what they do is they'll put your biography
Yeah.
when they recognize you, and then it goes into the Library of Congress, this big biography registry. I think it started many years ago. Marquise, like 100 years ago, they were trying to figure out how do they validate doctors and lawyers and stuff. So they
Yeah.
create this biography, and you look, oh yeah, that was validated. But there are people like presidents in there, Houdini in there. They pick them for their industry.
Wow.
And some of my bosses were on it before, and I said, well, okay. And so they interviewed me and all that stuff. But I generally made sure GK was part of my story.
That is so awesome. That is,
Yeah, I'll share it. I'll share it with you. I had been
yes,
kind of holding
yes,
back a little
please.
bit and when to push it. Like it's just one of those things, right? Because you have to watch, and I've known this many times, and we're all, you know, we're Christians here, and even if you're not, humility is the key, right? And but you know, you try not to be boastful, but there's some things that you have to tell because the story is, everyone who knows me, it's our story. Like
It's our
I do
story.
my best to always say our, we, like
Yeah.
I'm just one of them that got selected, but tons of us have the same story. Okay. Like if you wrote it down, it would be the same, that we took care of our family, we took our faith, and we still did the work, and we want the better. Like it's this, but yeah, I was really happy in a sense that, because you know, with my situation, you know, I always say, and I keep saying it, so I'm just going to say it. So in 2019, I came down with cancer, and I fought it. In 2020, it was clean. I didn't have it, and that's when. So you saw me in 2019 when I was just still fighting my first battle,
Yeah.
and that's why I dropped off. Like I was so
Okay.
excited, and then because I couldn't do chemo and work and all that stuff. And then in 2020, COVID came, right? I get clean of my cancer, and COVID come, right? So, and I'm the head of all the cleaning and all the food services. I do facility logistics for multiple campuses.
Yeah.
And then, so we get through that, and I was supposed to have a test, and for some reason, insurance didn't accept it, and your blood test looks good, you look good. And a year ago, I go for my scan, and it came back. And so I just finished 9 months of chemo, and they retired me because I get chemo every other week or so. And and I have my good weeks, which is what you see now. I have my tough weeks, or what I call my healing weeks. But I have to tell you, it doesn't stop me. And so I'm very careful now because the enemy is working hard on me. Okay. Look at it. I'm spraying my leg just before I come to talk to you, and I'm not worried about the pain. All right. Because our work is more important. You remember you used to say to us, like, you know, you can never share the pain of poverty, and I believe we can. We cannot truly understand. You remember the story about the boy who was eating rocks because he didn't have anything to eat?
Yeah.
That darn story still sticks with me right now. And so what I say is, someone says, oh, you got cancer, no, especially the kind you have. And I said, you know what? Everyone's got trials. Cancer is just a trial. We all got trials. And I have embraced my trial, okay? And I carry my cross with joy. I gotta carry my cancer cross with joy, because you're all going through trials, not just be cancer. I mean, anyone can be it. You all got them. You got work issues, you got family issues, you got whatever. But here's the thing: when you go through those trials, we're all gonna have struggle, all of us. But good people get through the struggle. good people. They get the victory. All good people do. You can't tell me no good person that's going through a trial struggle will not get victory. They will. But here's the difference. You can be a survivor of the trial and struggle, or you can be a thriver. You can thrive or survive. I choose to thrive. I must thrive, right? Because everyone's looking, and it's okay, they can look, right? Because we believe what we believe, okay? We believe there is hope in the Philippines. We believe that poverty can be cured. We can believe, but you gotta care. You gotta care. And we have our small group, but if we've done the numbers, right? We always do the numbers, right? If all 4 million Filipinos donated, we would end poverty. We would. The question, and that's why we don't stop until a point when they would all listen.
Well, we're all praying for you, Ben, and we're all cheering for you. I follow the Rhino sunrise.
How about that rock? You like the
right?
Rock? He's a crazy guy. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to watch.
Yeah.
The Rock is crazy. Of course, I got the haircut like the Rock. People, if you saw my picture, like, where's his hair? Well, here's a story. The first chemo battle, hair didn't fall out. Okay, and most people know I had cancer. I kind of hit it, but the second time, it was falling out, man. And Jenny, my wife, says, you just got to go full Rock. And I go, what are you talking about? She says, your favorite actor, The Rock, and happy wife, happy life, right? So I shave it off, right? I'm still not that happy to be truthful. And then she gets me this picture that she got signed by The Rock. And I was like, wow, that's great. And then like a few days later, The Rock's operation manager says, hey, did you get it? And she says, get what? And she says, check your email. And The Rock sent a reply to Jen's letter in that 1 minute video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah. I mean, I saw it, but I haven't watched it yet. Wow.
Oh man, he calls out Jen's name, he calls out my name, and we're like, say what? This dude is up. I mean,
oh my gosh, Robbie's gonna be so jealous. He's
real. Like, he didn't have to do that. Now, even his operation manager, Jen, her email every once. So I just emailed the other day and say I got through it. And I always tease her. I said, thanks for the video. I watch it every week, just to when I'm not feeling so good. I mean, they say someone's got to believe in you before you believe in yourself. I'm telling you, but we can all be that kind of inspiration. We all are that inspiration in our local areas, and that's what we really have to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, at this point, let me read the rest of the comments here. We've got a message from Leslie Tequila. You've met Leslie, right?
Yes.
She said, shout out to Donna and Ben. Hi, Les. And she always watches.
Hello.
Is a Quantum GK. Actually, Leslie, talking about bringing one volunteer, right? Rose Cabrera and, the group of Geekonomics came to promote, I think it was GET. The electric transportation thing.
Yeah, the electric
in Chicago, and we rented the office where Leslie is one of the principals who leases it, right? And so I talked to Leslie's business partner, and the business partner said, "Oh, I've got my business partner who's coming and wanted to check out the event, etc." And that was Leslie. Next thing I know, now she's the area director for the Midwest. I wasn't, all I said was, sure, yes, everyone's, welcome, to attend. So she was my one guest because I had just gone back. I mean, I just come back from the Philippines after living in the Philippines for 2.5 years, still trying to get back into, meeting with friends, etc. So Leslie was that one guest, and now she's leading our team here in Chicago. So very, very happy about that. Okay, from her, he said, hello, everyone, and said, yep, I hear ya. Also an only child, and now I got hundreds of siblings in the 2005. Oh, Herb, that's so sweet. All right, and then And Tita Carol says, hi, Donna and Ben. Nice to see you both. And I'm excited to hear your stories. I'm pretty, Tita Carol. So now we brought you down the memory lane too, right? Because Tita Carol, of course, is one of the, I don't want to say pioneers because I feel like that dates us. So if there's like younger Phil Amps watching right now, they're like, how old are they? It's like 19 years. Well, yeah.
No, we were the young ones. We were the
we were once in their shoes, right? And Allison's shoes.
Yeah.
Allison Nepomuceno is our new GK next gen.
Oh, Vicky, come here. Come here, Vicky. Oh, Vicky, remember that 1 year old? That 1 year old, she's 17 now. Stick your head in there. This is Victoria. Wow. This is my eldest girl.
Oh,
she is again leading the CPUG with the collect. Yeah, for her school.
Oh wow, wow! Thank you for what you do, and we're so excited. 17.
She said she can't.
Oh, sorry. You're going to be part of our. You are now part of our GK next.
Here?
Yeah. Did you hear that? Yeah. So you are now because you are already doing GK stuff. So I would be happy to connect you with Allison, who's our GK Next Gen chairperson. And, we're excited, with what you guys are doing for the work. It's just really exciting how the legacy, goes on, right? Thank you so much, Victoria, for everything that you do. Let us know if you need anything. I lead the marketing communications for GK USA. So your dad has my email address and contact information. Anything you might need to promote whatever events you have, let us know.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Wow. Okay, I'm going to continue reading. Maricel says, wow, congratulations. I think she's referring to that recognition from Marquise that we're talking about. Lucy Castor Ford also says, congratulations. Kuya Jess Gonzalez says, faith in action, congratulations. And somebody from Tacloban, Old Kawayan, SMMTAC, watching you from Tacloban, Philippines. Congratulations. Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to Ben's story. I'm just really at all, I am just blown away with everything that you're sharing right now. Like I said, the things that I thought, because I know you, I know you more than, I guess, in some of the, a little bit better than some of the guests that, we've had on the program, because some of them I would meet for the first time, right? So obviously I don't know them as well. So because I thought I knew you better, I was expecting what the responses to the questions I asked, but I'm like, oh my gosh, it's it's like listening to a new volunteer, to somebody who just got on board, and all your passion is never really, it's never diminished. It's still there. It's still burning, very brightly, and I'm so excited.
I just believe if you really, we all go through our trials. We're going through this journey, right? And I know you've heard of the hero journey, right? They talk about the hero journey. It's like a way of writing, right? And we all went through it, right? I found something new though. There's something after the hero journey. It's called the artist journey, right? And the hero journey, for those who don't know, it's like Star Wars, or Luke goes through, and there's like a Yoda. It's a journey. You can read it up. The Odyssey, for some of those that had read that book, it's something they teach you growing up. But it's something I came out was that after you finish with your hero's journey, you go on what they call the artist journey, right? And what that is you do what you were designed to do. You don't worry about the money, because you've already made the money that can do it. And you create your masterpiece. You create that masterpiece, or those things that you've always put off to do, right? And it's funny, over these last months, when they tell you certain things, and you think, well, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And other people are praying for you. Things didn't turn out exactly what we expected, but now I realize this is the way it was supposed to be expected. And I got a new life, totally. And like you said, GK is still part of it. There's always part of it. You could try to read your plan, but if it's truly who you are, it'll always be there, right? And so, that's what you see in the new life. I tell you, and for those who are troubled sometimes, I did go through depression this last 9 months. I mean, bad depression. But I just said, why? Like, the CPUG kids sent me a video saying they were praying for you during that time. They sent me a video. I said, this is better than the Rocks video. I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, I'm telling you, you guys came through like really. And it just kept wanting me to fight. Like, and that's why I come out and like, I realize we all have to tell our stories, right? Okay, you got to. You got to tell your GK story. You got to tell it, right? Because there's people that are missing something and they don't realize it's because they need to be part of the movement.
So, all right, well, we have about 9 minutes left into this program. What would be your message to new volunteers or people who are still, I guess, checking out GK, do not know as much about GK? What would you advise them, or what would you tell them? What would be your message to those people who are just coming on board?
Well, so there's one of these things we always say, like, a lot of times they get there because they come there what they call borrowed inspiration, right? You get there, oh, you're inspired. Then after a few months, you're like, do I really want to do this, right? Let me tell you, nothing's coincidence, okay? Everything's a choice, okay? You have an opportunity to choose something that we can't explain to you other than if you choose this, you choose a life it can't be explained. Just look at us, right? Look what we go through, and yet we still have this joy. I tell them, choose. I mean, but you have to make your own choice, okay? And don't be scared. Don't have fear, okay? Do not have fear, because fear, oh, I'm too busy, or this one, that comes from another side. That's another side. We don't work on that side. We work on that side. And this side versus this side. I'm telling you, do not be scared. I have a saying with my children. Okay, there's two angels on your shoulder, okay? One's got wings and one doesn't, okay? Because he lost it, all right? And those angels sound very much the same, but you can tell about what they're saying to you. Negativity, fear, I don't know if I have the time. That's coming from a different voice, okay? Reach down in. You weren't there, that person with it, but you still have your own choice, right? You don't, you don't have to drop your nets and follow us, right? But the ones that did drop their nets and follow, we've never regretted it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Ben, for spending your time with us. I'm pretty sure our, fellow pioneers
they all got to speak. Are challenging all the ADs now. All the ADs got to speak now. I know I don't want to like Marcel, right? Every AD now has to tell their GK. If you hadn't been, and I know some of you have already been on the show already.
You're the second one for the year.
Yeah. So every AD starts when she gets a slot, okay, and she might give you a little time because there's other people that have to go in here, but I suspect to see a few more of us because I'll be watching. Because
don't scare them now.
Oh no, it's an opportunity to tell your story, and that's the other thing. Oh, I don't know. The Spirit will let you flow.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Ben. And thank you everyone for joining us this evening for another episode of Quantum GK. Please make it a habit. I know it's once a month, right? It's usually it is the last Thursday of the month. So it's kind of hard to, form a habit around it, right? But, check the Facebook, Gawad Cleaning Up Facebook page, GK USA. And then also check out our website, gk-usa.org, for more information about what we do for the poor in Gawad Kalinga. And again, register for the Bayani Challenge if you haven't yet, especially if you're going to the Philippines, make it more meaningful and go out and vote. Thank you. Bye, everyone. All right, I stopped live stream.